Hey boys and girls, last week we introduced our poetry unit with 3 different types of poetry, which you all tried your hand at, and our Zoom meeting on Friday was so fun. As you shared all of your different types of poetry, you were becoming quite the poets. Before we started today and moved into a couple of different types of poetry this week, I wanted to do a quick poetry review. So what can poetry help us do? Well, it can help us express feeling. It can help us experiment with words, use all of our senses. Poetry can also inspire us, and it can build fluency. It can help our writing in so many different ways. So these are some of the things about poetry. Poems can be serious or silly. They can have patterns, have rhyming words. They can be about feelings. They can have rhythm. They can be short or long. There are a lot of different types of poems. So today, what I want us to do is I want us to look at a poem that is called a senses poem. So we're going to be making sense of it. So follow along as I read this. Our senses help us learn about and understand the world. The 5 senses are taste, touch, smell, hearing, and sight. You use your senses every day. Let's work each of the 5 senses into a poem. Okay, so here's our activity. The instructions say for the senses poem, number 1, choose a favorite holiday. Okay, boys and girls, I am sure you each have a very favorite holiday. If I were to be writing this poem right now, my favorite holiday would be Christmas. I would be able to talk about what I taste at Christmas time, different things that I touch at Christmas, what do I smell, what do I hear, and what do I see. So that's what we want to do with our senses poem today. So number 2 says write the holiday at the top of the page in your notebook. So boys and girls, we're going to do this in our writer's notebook. And you would write the holiday at the top of the page. For example, Christmas. Number 3, write down things you like about that holiday. So we're just going to kind of brainstorm. You're just going to jot down some ideas of some things that you like. Number 4, think about which senses you use for each of the things you like. Write about each sense on a different line. Number 5, make changes until your poem is just right. You know, boys and girls, good writers have to make changes to their writing all the time. So we're going to do the same thing as we create these poems. And then number 6, write a title for your poem at the top of the page. Now let's look at the Thanksgiving poem that they have on this page. So they put at the top, Thanksgiving ideas, yummy smells, kitchen full of food, tasty pies. That makes me hungry. At the top of this, the title says, I sense it's Thanksgiving. I see a kitchen full of food. So there's sight. I touch vegetables, fresh and crisp. I smell the turkey in the oven. I taste the pecans while we're baking pies. I hear my family laughing. I love Thanksgiving. How many of you does that make you want to have Thanksgiving right now? I know it does for me. So let's look at our directions for our 5 senses poem. All right, here they are. We want to look at these directions, and if you want, you could print this out. It would make it easy for you to follow along in your writer's notebook. A 5 senses poem uses all of your senses to describe a subject. So in this poem, we're going to focus on using similes. And boys and girls, we've done lots of work with similes. A simile is when you compare 2 unlike objects, so 2 things that are different, using the word like or as. All right, and then you'll see that there's only 7 lines for this type of census poem. So here's how you write it. Line 1, you are all going to write, I sense that it is, and then whatever holiday you chose. So I sense that it is Christmas. I sense that it is Thanksgiving. And then line 2, you're simply going to write a line on what you would taste at that holiday. Line 3, what would you hear? What does it sound like? Line 4, how about the smells? What does it smell like? Line 5, what does it look like? Line 6, how does it make you feel? And then line 7, you're going to copy exactly what you see. I love, and then you'll insert the holiday that you chose. Now it's your turn. Write your own 5 census poem in your writer's journal. If you want to make it more finished, you can turn it into a final copy by writing it on an unlined piece of paper. Give it a title, add an illustration. Have lots of fun with this, boys and girls. And again, you all are doing great work with your poetry, so keep it up. I can't wait to see what you do.